Hey, today I wanted to go into the topic of attachment styles within your relationship. Now, this is helpful when you're working with an individual counselor. So let's say you're working with me, or it could be helpful if you're working with a couples counselor. I share that because sometimes when it comes to relationships, I find that individuals may lean solely towards couples counselor, working with a couples counselor, you and your partner. And what I want to share with you is that you can reach effective change in your relationship by working with an individual counselor, not always needing to bring two people into the room. Now, that's not a one over the other. It's more of both can be effective. The topic for today is attachment styles. My name is Dr. Juan Santos. I'm a counselor over at Santos Counseling. So as a side note, if you're needing support, reach out to us. We have trained licensed counselors ready to be of support. With attachment styles, and here's kind of a really neat way to look at it. It's a bond between two people. So it's the bond that you build with someone else. Maybe the bond that you build with your partner. And this could also be a bond you build with a friend, with your child, with a sibling. But we'll keep the focus on romantic relationships. Ideal is that you're building a bond that is secure. And a bond that's secure is where you have this really strong level of trust. You have this sense of security that things are going to be okay. And even if there's an argument or a fight or conflict, things are going to be okay. Then you've got these three other areas of attachment. You have anxious attachment, you've got avoidant attachment, and you have a mixture of anxious avoidance attachment. And it's probably exactly what you're thinking. It's where you go back to that bond and you either feel anxious towards it or you feel avoidant towards it, depending on the dynamic and what's taken place. The goal is that you start with understanding yourself. So this is where the individual work comes in. If I'm working with a counselor, I want to talk with that person on the individual level about my life, my relationship history with my partners in the past, with my spouse, and just see how I am showing up when it comes to that bond. Am I approaching my relationship and building a secure bond? Or am I approaching the relationship and building an anxious or an avoidant, or that mixture of anxious avoidant? And to give you a little bit of insight here, when you look at a secure bond, this is the bond that you built with somebody else, you feel that there's affection in the relationship. You feel that you can be still your independent self, right? You're really steering away from that codependency. You feel that you're able to argue about something and you're in the middle of a conflict, but you're okay. You know that no one's going to say divorce, no one's going to say separation, no one's going to yell and walk out and be disrespectful towards each other's values. No boundaries are going to be broken, right? So you have this really strong sense of secure attachment. And it's built over time. It does take time to build something like this. The examples here I want to give you when it comes to insecure attachment. So this goes into anxious, avoidant, or the mixture of anxious, avoidant. We'll start with anxious. So anxious attachment, right? You and your partner. This is where maybe you feel nervous or fearful of abandonment. Maybe there's conflict taking place and you're really nervous about feeling rejected in that conflict. And I'm using the word nervous, right? Because we could use that synonymous with anxious. Here, you may find that you're on edge when it comes to criticism, receiving that from your partner, right? The next one, when we look at avoidant, right? We're building this avoidant attachment to our partner in a relationship. You may be guarded. So there could be some sort of argument taking place and then all of a sudden you become really distant. And if you're thinking, well, why do people do this? Well, it could relate to a defense mechanism. It could also be something that's very black and white, right? Let's say that you grew up in a house where you go to your parents and you talk about how you feel, and then that leads to an argument. They call you mean words. So then you learn not to get too close to people. So that could lead to you building relationships and attachment style that's avoidant, right? Avoidant meaning that you have a hard time expressing your needs and expressing your wants. And then let's just do an example here for clarity of anxious, right? So we know that with an anxious attachment, you may have this sense of distrust for your partner. You may really not want to get into a conflict because it makes you feel anxious about the stability of the relationship. So let's say you had past relationships, you had past partners, and you tried to talk about how you feel, and then that led to things not going too well. You talk about how you feel, you share an emotion, and then that leads to conflict taking place, and then maybe you feel rejected. So all of that kind of translates into this meaning of, I get nervous now, I get anxious during these engagements. So my hope today is that you number one, do a little reflection. Take a step back and look at how am I, meaning how are you creating relationships with others? And again, the focus with our conversation here today is how are you building a relationship with your romantic partner? And then see if you're in the secure category. And if you are, come up with reasons why. What are you doing to make that work? And then if you find yourself going more towards the attachment style of anxious or of avoidant or of that mixture, once again, look at what's happening there. Reflect on your past, because our past does have a way of filtering into and painting certain aspects of our present, and even leading to certain outcomes of our future. So I encourage you to explore those areas. One of the really beautiful things about life is that so much is unwritten. So just because you are in this place right now doesn't mean you'll be stuck there forever, right? You won't be in molasses forever. Working with a counselor can really move things forward. It could allow you to go from that stuck to unstuck position. I welcome you to reach out to us. Again, my name is Dr. Juan Santos. I'm a counselor over at Santos Counseling. You could visit us at our website, santoscounseling.com. We're more than happy to help, to be of support.